Folks here tonight, I think, Meredith, come on up. Miss Angela's, make sure the microphone's on. Come on up, Kylie. Come on, Miss Busan. Come on up. I'd like you to introduce yourself to the board, please, and you're going to lead us in invocation? Mm-hmm. Okay, great. Tell us who you are.
My name is Meredith Dees. Okay. Meredith Dees.
Let's get that help with the microphone there, Angela. There we go. We'll get you.
My name is Meredith Dees.
That's what I'm talking about. All right.
Okay, everyone bow your heads.
And go ahead.
Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for allowing these great men and women to be here and serve us and talk about things going on. And I pray for everyone's safety in regards to COVID and other issues. And in your name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen. All right, and Kylie, what are you here for?
My name is Kylie Bisson, and I'm here to lead you in the pledge.
Sound off.
Attention, salute, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And you'll note that we have one board member present by phone tonight. Can you hear me okay, Monica?
Yes, sir.
There we go. Okay. So we are all in attendance in some capacity anyway, but very much appreciate the Mayor's Youth Council. We require them to attend a board meeting and to get up in front of folks and talk sometimes, to say a prayer and pledge, and that's not necessarily an easy thing sometimes, but you did an exceptional job and we really appreciate that, okay? So, went through a nice night on Friday night. We only had, I think, about 98% of the people did exactly what we asked them to do. We had one group of teenage boys who I don't think really did, and maybe a couple of women who moved cars around, but other than that, we had a nice parade at Corey Park, and everything came off after about an hour and a half. Everybody got home, so a safe time for our youth to get out and have some fun. All right. At this time, is any public comment from the audience? Anybody like to make public comment, or board members? All right. Seeing none, we will move on through the agenda. Approve the regular board meeting minutes of November the 16th, 2020, and the special board meeting minutes of December the 2nd, 2020. Motion by Mr. Harry Williams. Second by Mr. James Morris. Any further discussion on those? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, like sign. Thank you very much. All right. Under the mayor. Now, Monica, just as a side note, there have been 2 additions to the agenda that you have, unless Angela emailed you the most current one that we just printed earlier. Okay. So we had a couple of changes this afternoon, and we'll talk you through those if you have questions. Okay. Under the mayor board, I want to tell you this is a continuation of the local emergency following what the governor and the state does. I want to report to you that we received back from the state through the CARES Act and back from FEMA approximately $617,000 to date. There's more going in now for overtime. Basically, it's $508,000 from MEMA, which has covered everything you could think of, from gloves to masks to everything else that was used in this emergency. And then overtime is covered by FEMA, and that's approximately $109,000 at this time. Is that about right, Ms. Angela?
Yes, sir, I haven't filed FEMA yet.
Haven't filed
They
FEMA.
have not put a deadline on it.
Oh, okay, so you just kind
We're
of,
gonna have additional overtime, so I was kind of letting it, but I'm getting ready to do that. So that 109 has not been received yet.
I got you. You just got a running clock until we get a deadline on when to report.
MEMA reimbursed for regular time, and FEMA will reimburse for overtime plus the supplies.
Okay, so we get questions sometimes as to why we reiterate that, and of course, you want to stay in good standing. So we want those reimbursements, especially for overtime, primarily for public safety, fire, and police, if we can get it. So there we go. So let's see, consideration to approve the continuation of a local emergency for an additional 30 days as such time that the governor of Mississippi lifts the state of emergency, whichever comes first.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Lou Coker. Second by Mr. Chris Vinson. Is there any further discussion on that? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Okay, thank you much. All right, Ms. Bean.
May I take all of these together?
Yes, ma'am, slowly, please.
The first item is request permission to refund Mississippi Lottery Corporation for their 2020 sponsorship pursuant to the memo. Second item, request permission to declare Thursday, December 31st as an additional holiday in accordance with Governor Reeves' proclamation dated October 16th. And the third item, consideration to approve the docket of claims for November 18th and December 8th. The Fox Everett claims released on November 19th and the electronic fund transfers for November.
Thank you, Ms. Angela. Is there a motion to approve those three items? Motion by Mr. James Morris. Second by Ms. Talia Dobbs. Any further discussion on any of those? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Dodd. You can stay at that podium unless you need the shelf.
Over here, since we have
Okay.
a public hearing, in case someone needs.
I got it, okay.
Good evening.
Good
Have
evening,
five
sir.
items, permission to take 1, 2, and 5 together, and then 3 and 4 separately.
Let's just go straight down the line. Let's do 1 and 2.
1 and 2? Okay.
Yeah, let's do 1 and 2.
Consideration, number 1, consideration to revise the boundaries of voting wards 1 and 2 to include the newly annexed territories and adopt a new ward map reflecting said changes. I provided y'all with copies of the existing ward map and then the proposed ward map. There's larger printed copies right there for y'all to look at. Did you have any questions about that item?
All right, and Board, I want to let you know that Donald Park, do you remember how many lots that was? 8? I want to say 80. It's not 80,
I think it's actually more than 80 in the overall.
but that property has sold, and you're already working with a developer to put houses on that. Is that correct?
The new name is Jasmine Cove.
Jasmine Cove.
Correct, yes.
Try to remember that. So that is in Ward 2?
It will be in Ward 2, correct.
Current.
Yes,
Ward 2.
currently. And the,
So, anyway, any idea when they're going to get started on that? Out of curiosity, I know I'm bouncing around though.
as soon as they can.
Okay. Yeah.
They're already working through construction drawings right now.
Mark, you need anything?
I don't see the,
What
I
you
know
need?
we got the ordinance in the packet, I don't think, okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Make sure that's what you need.
Yes.
Okay.
The preliminary plat will come before y'all probably at the next meeting.
At the next meeting in
Mhm.
December? Okay, they are moving pretty quick, so, good deal.
Only thing I would say on the ordinance is there's a formatting issue, elections should be in quotes. I'll send it back to you again, correct, it's at the top on the style, and it's also in section 1, kind of bottom. Elections should be in quotes.
Okay.
Got
You got
some
that?
weird formatting.
Okay.
It must have happened when I sent it, I apologize.
Okay, and I see that Kennedy Farm moving right along.
Yes.
good deal. Glad to see that, too. All right, so is there a motion to approve 1 and 2 under community development?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Lou Coker.
Second.
Second by Mr. Chris Vinson. Any further discussion or comment? All in favor, say aye.
I didn't read in item 2, but
Oh, you didn't read number 2, okay.
I'll read it real quick. Item 2, consideration to approve Kennedy Farms Phase 2 final plat.
Yeah, all right, so, okay. So this is an expansion into Phase 2 with a road off of Kennedy Farm Parkway?
These are the 9 lots that still front Kennedy Farm Parkway.
Okay, good deal. All right, so items 1 and 2, and we had a motion by Mr.
One's on the north, towards the fire station, right?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So we got a motion to approve by Mr. Lou Coker and second by Mr. Chris Vinson. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Monica? All opposed, like sign? All right. Now, you're going to jump down to number 5, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Item 5 is affirm community development's interpretation of the zoning ordinance regarding restaurants with or without drive-throughs. In a nutshell, our zoning ordinance only defines 2 types of restaurants: restaurants with a drive-through and restaurants without a drive-through. There's really no determination made whether or not where carry-out windows would be permitted or if they'd be considered a drive-through. Community development's interpretation has been that a carry-out window or pickup window only could be permitted with a standalone restaurant and not be permitted under the same requirements as a restaurant with a drive-through. So zoning districts that permit just a restaurant would also permit a restaurant with a carry-out or pickup window.
All right.
Okay, we're going to number 5 that Matt's covering. I don't have that.
That's good. So basically, I'm going to abbreviate Matt, what he said. I know you didn't hear him, Monica. Basically, our ordinance defines 2 restaurants. One is dine-in, and if you can have a drive-through, okay? Nowhere in there have we delineated a pickup window. So that's what this change is. It's adding pickup windows where you don't go through and sit in line and order. You order ahead of time and drive through the window and pay so you don't have to get out of the car. So that's basically the change. Okay?
Yeah. It's really not a change, it's
I tell you
just
what,
our...
Monica, I'm going to move the phone a little bit closer to Mark, okay? There we go.
All it simply does is that there are certain districts where drive-through windows are not permitted in restaurants, but this community development department has interpreted pickup windows to not be drive-through windows, and we're just asking for the board to make that interpretation. And so it's just cleaning it up further down.
Microphone.
Okay?
All right. All right, so we're cleaning up some language in there. All right? Okay, so did we have a motion yet? Motion by Mr. Harry Williams to approve? Okay. Second by Ms. Talia Dobbs. Any further discussion or question? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Thank you. Now we're going back up to number 3 for a public hearing. Mr. Dye?
All right, item 3 is public hearing and board action with regard to the consideration of a conditional use application request from AT&T of Mississippi to allow for the installation of new permanent small cell technology facilities.
Matthew, can you advise the board as to whether all the prerequisites to public hearing have been met?
Yes, they have.
Was the matter presented to the Planning Commission?
It was.
What was the recommendation of the Planning Commission?
They recommended to approve, but they did have a request to add additional street light on the Marlin Drive location.
Okay, so the approval is with conditions?
Correct.
And did the Community Development Department prepare a staff report in this matter?
Yes.
Are you asking that the staff report, together with the action of the Planning Commission, together with all other documents and things relative to this application, be appended to the minutes of the public hearing?
Yes.
What is the position of the Planning Commission with regard to the application? I mean, sorry, not the Planning Commission, Community Development Department.
We recommend approval pursuant to the staff report and along with the Planning Commission's recommendation.
Okay. During the course of the application process, did you receive any notice from any individual or entity concerning the proposed application?
No, we did not.
Okay. At this time, can you generally describe for the public what the application is about?
AT&T Mississippi is requesting to put 2 new small cell facilities in Brandon. One would be located just south of KFC on Marlin Drive. The other one at the corner of the Service Drive and, I think of the name, Office Park Drive.
Okay, and when you say small cell tower, cell facilities, describe generally for the public what you're talking about.
It is generally a single support structure, a pole. It looks similar to a light pole, and at the top is an antenna that whatever their 5G technology runs off of it. It basically creates areas where they have poor service. This will increase the service capacity of the areas. It's in the
Okay.
general vicinity.
Based on your evaluation of it, is it a relatively unobtrusive pole?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
At this time, if there is anyone who desires to speak in favor of or in opposition or to provide any particular public comment with regard to the proposed application, this is your opportunity to come forward and speak. Is there anyone who desires to make any public comment with regard to the proposed application? Seeing none, Mr. Mayor, I'd ask that the public hearing be closed.
Thanks, sir. Terminology-wise, want to be real clear that everybody understands this is not cell towers. This looks more like a lamp post, but it's not ours, and they provided pictures that we have here and placements. They've gone through extensive looks, but want to be careful that we don't get lost on terminology, kind of like lime, limestone, and lime rocks, and hydrated lime. So they're not cell towers, but they are the next generation of access to the internet, I guess is the way to say that.
And these will be black poles. Both will have a street light on it. And it's pretty streamlined. Most of their equipment's hidden inside the pole. I think they have a couple things that are mounted on the outside, but they're
And
not
they're
very
not the
visible.
only provider out there that's going through this. Verizon's also working with us now to find some locations they'll be more than happy with. And so this may be the wave of the future everywhere. So
We've previously approved 4, and this will be 2 more for AT&T, so this will be a total of 6 for AT&T. So far, AT&T is the only provider that has submitted for a location request.
all right. So questions, board? Go ahead, Harry.
On page 6, can you explain that in this proposal? In the HILPI report? Healthy report, page 6.
We've got the shear load formula and the trial strength formula.
Yeah, we just
Page
want
6.
to explain these formulas they got.
I don't know what page you're on. Page 6 of,
Look at it. It really doesn't matter.
oh. I don't, is Matthew Miller here? He's an engineer. He may be.
That'd be a good one for Mr. There you go.
Explain, Matthew.
What was the question, man? I had interrupted you. I apologize.
All that calculation they do, I'm kind of like, okay.
Did we verify those? And you want to know if we verified it?
Did that verify, did Matthew verify those numbers?
We'll have him verify it before we permit it.
All right. Motion by Mr. Harry. Board, I got to remind you that these are going on right away. It's not like, there's certainly some things we could do, but our hands are somewhat tied in a sense, because this is going on existing utility right away. A little bit different critter. So I feel sure that's the reason why this technology is beginning to be seen across America. Anyway, do you second that, Chris? Second, Mr. Chris Vinson. Any further discussion or comment? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Thank you. All right.
All right, last item, item 4, public hearing and board action with regard to the consideration of proposed amendments to the official zoning map and comprehensive plan to incorporate territory recently annexed by the city of Brandon.
Matt, can you advise the board as to whether all the prerequisites of the public hearing have been met?
Yes,
And was the matter presented to the planning commission?
it was.
And what was the recommendation of the planning commission?
They recommended to approve the amendments.
Okay. As proposed by community development?
Yes,
Did community development prepare a staff report with regard to this application?
yes,
And are you requesting that the staff report, together with the action of the planning commission and all other documents and things relative to this public hearing and the application, be appended to the minutes?
yes.
Okay. Can you generally describe for the board why we're here on this application today?
We are here to amend the two maps. We recently annexed territory, and because of that, we need to adopt zoning in those territories as well as update our future land use plan to reflect the new city limit boundary.
Okay. And during this process, did you receive any comments from any individuals or entities with regard to the proposed zoning of the city with regard to the annexed territory?
No.
Okay. And is there anything else you'd like to add with regard to this?
I don't unless the board has questions.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Okay.
It's a public meeting. Hang on just a second.
Can you, at this time, we'll ask for anyone who desires to make any public comment with regard to the application to come forward and speak. Anyone who desires to speak on the application of the City of Brandon with regard to the newly annexed territory. Seeing none, Mr. Mayor, I'd ask that the public hearing be closed.
All right, public hearing's closed. Alderman Benson has a question for you.
Yes, sir.
The two different parcels, I guess, that we're discussing here that we annexed, are we annexing that as what was the existing zoning, the county zoning?
When we annex it, yes, the county zoning is the zoning that we have to administer until such time as we adopt our own zoning district for that area.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay.
And what kind of time frame are we looking at on that?
But if you take action on it tonight, we're done. The zoning that's proposed on there now, if you take action and approve it, then that will become the zoning for the annexed territories.
But this RM4,
Yes.
it's so small I can't really read it.
Yeah, can you go into what we zoned it? I mean, it's kind of hard to read.
You want me to go over here so you...
You may want to say it too so people in the audience can hear, so they'll know.
So this is the property you're talking about right here. The RM4, there's two pieces of RM4, and then the rest of it is T&D.
Okay.
This was brought before you, and I don't have the date offhand, but prior to us annexing this area, we did bring before you a preliminary zoning. This is the same that was brought before y'all previously. So consistent with the property.
So does T&D match what the county had it zoned?
The county had, I don't remember exactly, I don't offhand know where the county had this area zoned, but yes, this is consistent with what they had. The RM4 was consistent with what they had at the county, and then this was kind of mixed use with the county.
So would that not be considered, I'm just asking, rural residential since it's kind of out there by itself? Do we want to go T&D? We've already had questions raised on T&D in other areas.
Well, the T&D is consistent with the current zoning out there.
When you annex something, you have to annex it with its existing zoning, right?
Correct, until such time as you adopt.
Right. So that's the closest thing that we have to the county.
And with regard to that particular area, that is consistent with the adjoining property, which is owned by the landowner or the groups of the landowners. And this was presented to the landowners at the same time or after it was presented to the board. So there are no surprises here from the standpoint of the owners and the zoning of what is occurring right now for that and for the part that is now Jasmine something. In fact, with what the city's doing and the annexation caused that property get back in play, so to speak, the smaller parcel.
Okay, I just want to be sure because that T&D came back to bite us one time with a group, so I didn't want it to come back on them.
No, and that's a good question, but no, I think that I know we've done our due diligence with regard to all of the interested parties, and of course your due diligence with regard to the evaluation of that early on as we were bringing it in, and so this is consistent with all expectations and with our comprehensive plan and with our current zoning.
Okay.
Good discussion. Thank you for asking. And comprehensive plan will be in next year's budget proposal. We need to go through that again, so we'll be fine tuning even further. All right. Any further questions, comments? Monica, you still with us?
Yes, sir, I'm still here.
Okay. So, is there a motion to approve those proposed amendments? Motion by Ms. Talia Dodds. Second by Mr. Dwight Middleton. Any further comment, question? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Thank you. All right.
Thank you.
Mr. Dodd, before you leave, I know you sent it out today. It's just it's somewhat good to know, but still outrunning us. I see $35 million worth of investment in Brandon in the last year. We got one more month to go. 104 homes.
Yes.
So still falling
Which is
in
the most
here.
we've had in the last 3 years.
Pardon me?
The most we've had in the last 3 years, so.
Yeah. And all right, sounds good. So we're doing what needs to be done. It's reflected in the number of rooftops coming in, people moving here. Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Smith. You gonna stay out there, huh?
Thought I would.
All right, so Monica, we're going to break this up because he's got 11 items, but there was one added today, number 11. 11 will be requesting permission to advertise for bids to rehab the Puckett Street water well, also known as the pig well, because it was behind Piggly Wiggly when it was first drilled. So we're going to be advertising for bids to rehab that well in the very near future. So.
I went 1 through 5, if that's okay.
1 through 5. All right. Charles, Mr.
I'd like
Baker
to
wants to go through.
remove,
Pardon me?
I'd like to remove item number 4. So that'll put me at 10 items even.
That's fine. So we're going to remove 4. And you're going to take 1 through 5 to begin with. Okay?
Or if I take, yes, item 6 will actually be the 5th item.
No, just do 1 through 5.
1
Go
through
ahead.
5, yes,
Okay.
sir. All right. Item 1, request permission to hire Barry as a water labor 1 and Teresa Trebach as a utility clerk 1 effective December 8, 2020, set rates of pay pursuant to the memo. Item 2 is request permission to promote Cortina Gandy to utility clerk 2 effective December 8, 2020, and adjust rate of pay pursuant to the memo. Item 3, request permission to purchase 5 lateral filing cabinets from Office Innovations, state contract vendor, in the amount of $5,575 and authorize payment of the same. Item 5 is consideration to approve the following repairs by Hemphill Construction utilizing commodity pricing and authorize payment of the same. A is 6-inch sewer line repairs at 406 Lewis Wilson Drive in the amount of $5,525. B is water line repair at 107 Summit Ridge in the amount of $6,202.63. Item C is 3-inch water line repairs at 212 East Government Street, amount of $5,441.39. Item D is water line repair at 107 Summit Ridge Drive in the amount of $6,202.63. Item E is fire hydrant repairs at Longwood Drive in the amount of $8,006.17. Item F is the water line and valve repair at the intersection of Hemlock and Martin in the amount of $8,360.25. Item G is sewer line repairs at the intersection of Tree Line and Ramblewood in the amount of $7,346.74. And item 5H is sewer line and driveway repairs at 234 Penny Lane in the amount of $34,871.90.
And you're also doing APAC there, right?
No, that's all right.
No,
Let's
he-
just handle those. All right. You good? Did you get
Yes.
all those? A through H, Mr. Baker?
No, I mean, I'll catch up. I'm good.
Okay. So, board, we're going 1, 2, 3, and 5. We remove number 4. Okay. Is there a motion to approve those items?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. James Morris. Second by Ms. Monica Corley. Any further discussion, question, or comment on any of those actions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Thank you. All right. Moving on, Charles.
Item 6 is consideration to approve APAC Mississippi Incorporated pay request number 4 in the amount of $1,222,788.08 with regard to the 2020 asphalt overlay project and authorized payment of the same. Item 7 is consideration to approve Suncoast Infrastructure pay request number 2 in the amount of $295,655 with regard to the Crossgate Sewer Rehabilitation Project and authorized payment of the same. Item 8 is consideration to approve the installation of a 10-inch water line at Highway 80 and Edgewood Crossing from Hinfield Construction utilizing commodity pricing in the estimated amount of $40,415. Item 9 is consideration to approve the installation of a storm drain at Sunline Drive and Freehill Court from Hempfield Construction utilizing commodity pricing in the estimated amount of $13,035. Item 10 is consideration to approve the resolution with regard to the City of Brandon's maintenance plan that details the city's responsibility in maintaining proposed CDBG, Morrow Ore and Apple Ridge sewer improvements, and the CDBG program resolution with regard to the Section 3 plan. Item 11 is request permission to advertise for bids the rehabilitation of the Puckett Street well known as Pig Well.
All right. Thank you, Charles. All right, board, is there a motion to approve items 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11?
So moved.
Motion by, who said that?
Coker.
Lou and Chris. Motion by Mr. Lou Coker, second by Mr. Chris Vinson. Any further question or comment? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Thank you.
Thank you, Board. Mayor, if I could give a quick update on our paving project.
Please.
All of the streets that were to be paved have been paved. We are finishing up some striping, and they are doing a bit of early punch list work. But in terms of streets to be paved, the project is complete.
And by the next board meeting, will you have pretty much an exact number of what's left out of that bond money?
Yes. Yeah, we
You got an
gave,
approximate tonight?
I forwarded an estimate earlier to Angela for the contract itself, but we'll have to look at the final tallies on the bond, so I would think we'd have that by the end of this week.
Okay. Thank you, Charles.
Thank you.
Good evening, Board, Mayor. Start with a real quick brief. This is historically when we see our increase or our spike in property crimes around here, which is people getting their cars broken into and things taken from their yard, things like that. We have tried to jump in front of it this year by, some of you have probably seen our social media push, lock your car. You've seen me on TV, lock your car. And as always, 9 out of 10 burglaries are always in an unlocked car. So we're really pushing that. And also we have brought on from, I'll leave the hours, I'll get offline and tell you when they are, but there are extra officers working. And their primary goal is to work the neighborhoods. They're not subject to calls, but they are strictly to look for burglars in our neighborhoods. So if you want to know more about that, I'll get with each of you offline. All right, Mayor, I have one item.
Yes, sir.
And that item is request permission to purchase 4 2021 Dodge Chargers from Landers Dodge, a state contract vendor, in the amount of $99,004 to be paid from the drug seizure fund.
Thank you, Chief. Is there a motion to approve that request? Motion by Mr. Dwight Middleton. Second by Mr. Chris Benson. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Thank you.
Good evening, Board, Mayor. We only have one siren that did not function properly this time, and I do believe it has been fixed to the date. I know it got fixed yesterday. And this
Opposed, like sign. All right, I'm gonna carry the phone. All right, so we're in executive session, so audience, you will have to